Burnt Offerings is a 1976 British horror movie, directed by Dan Curtis, and is based on Robert Marasco's 1973 novel of the same name. Our story starts with writer Ben Rolfe, his wife Marion, and their 12-year-old son Davy, as they approach a large 19th-century mansion in Oakland, California. The family have been looking for a place to rent for the summer, and after seeing an advert for the large secluded house, decide to give it a butcher's, to see if it fits the bill. They are greeted by a grubby toothless old git, who gives them a brief tour around the shabby estate, before they meet with the house's eccentric owners. The siblings, who plan on renting their house out, are a bit odd to say the least, and give the Rolfes a bargain rental price of only $900 for the whole summer. Naturally, the Rolfes are a bit suspicious. The house is big, the rent is small, and it even has a pool, so what's the catch? Well, here's the kicker. The kooky duo plan on leaving their 85-year-old mother in the house for the summer, and all the Rolfes have to do is leave some meals outside her room 3 times a day. They don't even have to see or talk to the old bat, they just need to keep her well fed, and leave her alone. Sounds like a cushy little deal to me. Marion is excited at the prospect of relaxing in the mansion with her family for the summer, but her husband Ben has his doubts. After all, what if Mrs. Allardyce, the 85-year-old in the attic, kicks the bucket, and they get the blame? Marion convinces him that this is an offer too good to refuse, so they agree to rent the gaff, and move in as soon as possible. They are joined by Ben's elderly Aunt Elizabeth, played by Bette Davis, who doesn't really do much, but the family enjoy her company. After a couple of days, the gang settle in, and we watch as Marion becomes infatuated with the house. She is fascinated by the framed photos outside Mrs. Allardyce's bedroom, and even starts wearing the old bird's clothes. This doesn't go unnoticed, and when Ben confronts her about her odd behavior, she changes the subject to something to do with the house. Apart from Marion going a bit bananas, everything seems fine, until one day, when Ben and Davy are having fun in the swimming pool, Ben takes the roughhousing a bit far, and nearly drowns his son. Was he possessed by some demonic force? Or is Ben just a prick? The next day, Davy is unsurprisingly rattled by his near-death experience at the hands of his father, and he eventually forgives Ben for his boisterous episode, but later that night he confesses to Marion that part of him wanted to kill Davy. Hold on a minute, this is all getting very weird indeed. We also learn that since Ben has been in the house, an old nightmare he used to have as a child has returned, in which a creepy hearse chauffeur smiles at him on the day of his mother's funeral. It's clear that the longer they stay in the house, the stranger the family behave towards each other. Ben gets annoyed that Marion is more interested in the house than him, and points out how protective she is of Mrs. Allardyce's room. She refuses to let anyone get within spitting distance of the mysterious bedroom. What is she hiding in there? And the story takes an even more bizarre turn for the worse, when a gas leak nearly kills poor Davy in his sleep. What has the lad done to deserve all this unwanted attention? So there we have it, a father convinced that an old mansion is to blame for his violent urges towards his family, a mother who is gradually changing into a 19th century lady of leisure, and an old house that seems to look better and better depending on the level of suffering its tenants can put up with. What is going on in the attic bedroom of Mrs. Allardyce? Why can't Ben escape the mansion grounds? And did Aunt Elizabeth release the gas valve in an attempt to off the snoozing Davy? Though not considered a stone-cold classic, Burnt Offerings did win numerous awards in 1977, and it succeeds in flipping the haunted house premise on its head. It offers some social commentary on the state of 1970s American middle classes, who were chasing the ideal house, the ideal life, the ideal family, only to see it crumble before their very eyes. Oliver Reed delivers an intense, and often frightening portrayal, as a father slowly descending into madness, and Karen Black's performance is perfect as the conscientious mother, who gradually submits to the powers of the mansion. Bette Davis, who won a Best Supporting Actress award for her role as Aunt Elizabeth, also had a few good moments, but I wasn't exactly wowed by her involvement in the film. She's mainly there to make up the numbers, and her senility makes her a suspect as strange things start occurring in the house. Her death scene is particularly arduous too, as she writhes around in bed, all bug-eyed and sweaty. But the payoff is worth it, as we see Oliver Reed's character crumple with terror, as Aunt Elizabeth is paid a visit by the creepy smiling chauffeur. Bette Davis also famously despised Oliver Reed, calling him one of the most loathsome people she had ever met, and though that didn't influence her performance in Burnt Offerings, is still pretty funny. If you're looking for blood and guts and gore, move on, you won't find it in this movie, but if you're looking for a slow burn psychological gothic-style haunted house spooky thriller, stick around. Burnt Offerings is definitely worth checking out, and in my opinion, still holds up pretty well for its age. But what did you make of this movie? Did it leave you grinning ear to ear? Or was it so terrible that you had the sudden urge to chuck yourself out of an upstairs window? Let me know in the comments below, and if you liked the video, why not give it a thumbs up, or subscribe if you want to see more reviews like this one. I've been HB, the Horror Bot. Cheers babes.